This video, we're going to talk about certain tricks that you can follow to hopefully enhance your exam experience, the way you study, and helping you pass in hopefully the first go or at least your next immediate attempt. I think you can apply this to whether you're in school, college, or you're studying for something higher, MBA, CA, something in the JEE field. I think it'll apply to all. So here are 5 unique tips that we believe will help you in your studies. So tip number 1, try and hunt for concrete examples to connect with the concept you're studying. For example, let's say you've come across a concept on Porter's 5 forces. It's a business model, right? It's an industry competitor analytical model. You're reading it for the first time. You have no idea. What you need to do is first, this unknown concept, you need to connect it with something that you know, right? So for example, you go on YouTube and you search for Porter's 5 forces case study. And for example, it comes how Starbucks is faring in Australia, right? Whether it's succeeding or failing. And they're using Porter's 5 forces to explain that case study. Now, because you understand Starbucks, because you're going to be able to hopefully understand why Starbucks is working or not working through Porter's 5 forces, that example you can remember for a long, long time. And anytime you need to use Porter's 5 forces, this is the anchor with which you'll remember the concept. The effort that will go in actually finding these examples will be nothing compared to the benefit of retaining concepts for a really long time. So do search for examples, put in that effort, and then see how you'll be able to retain these concepts. Tip number 2, do not underestimate the power of your own revision notes. All of us may have a slightly different way of studying last minute. At least from the exam perspective, studying last minute is really crucial. You want to remember everything for a really long time, so your conceptual understanding should be really strong. That being said, to pass an exam, you need that last minute burst of recollection of everything you've studied. As we've grown up and we've realized how we, the faculties as well as the students study, we've come up with different concepts. So if you are the kind of person who likes graphic representations, right, you can create something known as a mind map. A mind map is like, imagine when you're going through a chapter, every concept you basically in your own way, write a small para on it or a few bullet points on it, and you create that topic over topic, finally covering one page as a summary page for all the topics that you have. If you've understood what you like, make sure you make notes like that. If you are not sure, experiment. Within a couple of tries, you'll get what you need to do. That is tip number 2. Tip number 3. When you come across concepts or lengthy topics that you need to remember, a very powerful way to know whether you're getting better at it or not, whether you're retaining it or not, is teach the same topic to somebody else. When you reiterate what you know, what you're trying to essentially do is not only are you recalling it, that helps your memory, but when you're trying to explain it in your own words, you try to break it down into simple, easy terms that is easy for somebody else to understand. If you're solving sums, you've got to be able to explain every step, because here it's not like an exam where out of 10 steps of 10 marks, if you just solve 7 steps, you'll get 7 on 10. When you're teaching somebody, you need to know everything. That reinforcement is extremely powerful. So you can teach somebody who's in this manner. If you have somebody at home, maybe a younger brother, older brother, sister, anybody you're close to who will take out that time, explain it to them and very honestly ask them if they've understood the entire thing back. If they have, you know that concept is now solidified in your mind. Tip number 4, create a phone bank. Now, what does this mean, right? Just as we would put money in the bank for a certain period of time before withdrawing it, you do the same thing with all your distractions. Most of the time, it's our phone, right? So when you decide that I'm going to finish something, you may not give yourself a time limit, but you ensure that you put the phone away into whatever you can create as a phone bank. You do not touch the phone unless and until you get up after completing whatever you had pre-decided. So if you've told yourself simply that I'm going to do 2 chapters in 1 hour. Now, even if it goes beyond that 1 hour, you do not get up till your 2 chapters are done, and only then can you touch the phone. Make sure that all your distractions are at bay. You do not get up till whatever you've decided, committed to yourself, is done. And just that mentality is a huge change. Most of us don't have such a rigid mentality that I will not get up till it's done. Instill that and try and reward yourself with whatever you need at that point of time as a little celebration to completing whatever you had decided. Tip number 5, a combination of all the obvious but those tips that you cannot miss. First, there is no substitute for practice. So no matter how much you hate taking that effort to write or type, if you think reading, you're that good that you can read and retain, most of the times we'll be wrong over there, right? You need to practice and practice multiple times for you to genuinely master any topic, any concept, anything which is relatively unknown before you started studying it. Practice in the mode, in the format in which you're going to give the exam. So if it's a written exam, write it. If it's an exam which is going to be on the computer, on Excel, on Word, practice on that. If the exam expects you to read the question also digitally, practice it digitally. There is nothing as powerful as practicing. At the risk of having the fifth tip as a generic tip, please take it seriously enough, combined with all the other tips that you have, and hopefully the next attempt that you give will be your final attempt.